Welcome to the Toast of the Weird, the gateway to the enigmatic, the extraordinary. In this haven for the peculiar, we delve into the weird web and the elaborate tapestry of life, isolating individual threads to reveal their contribution to the grand design we call life. But it's not just about observing here. We empower you to weave your own destiny, to take control of the narrative, and to become the master of your journey. Each episode is an odyssey, inviting you to embrace the oddities, influence the inexplicable, and shape the world within and around you. So tune in and let's transform the weird and wonderful world into the blueprint of your extraordinary saga, flaws included. All right, that was the intro, and now we're here. Yes!
Nice.
Now we are here. Hold on. Oh, man. I was like, I'm going to record this intro and fuck up enigmatic because I can't say it no matter how many times I try.
Enigmatic.
Enigmatic.
What does that mean?
Enigmatic. Well, enigmatic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is the way to. Difficult to interpret or understand, mysterious. He took the money with an enigmatic smile.
Interesting.
All right. Now. All right, so you sent me that really clever video of that pastor. You want to talk on that while I do this?
The pastor or what? I've seen the gentleman around before, and he elaborated on things that we have been talking about since high school, and just the way that he spoke, it was just beautiful. Very nice, very well-spoken gentleman.
Yeah. Public speaker, motivational speaker, we'll call him.
I want to say, I'm Kendris
Bartholomew,
right? Yeah, I know I've heard the gentleman before. The system is designed to do this, and you don't even know it. Beautiful.
Understand the purpose.
Sports. Here we go.
It's a psychological anesthesia
to
lull you into a state of sleepness so that you do not feel the pain of them extracting all of the beauty from your future. Why it exists. I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
He's a professor, okay. He looks like a college professor, okay.
It makes sense to be cheered for people who don't know you. To win a game that doesn't matter and you can't pay your light bill. You can't educate your children the way you desire to. You can't take a family vacation, but you're jumping up and down because a full-grown man ran over another full-grown man over a pigskin filled with air. It doesn't make sense. You're broke and you're watching a movie. I want you to feel the pain of that statement. You're broke and watching a movie. You're watching people who are rich pretend to be people who don't exist to distract you from intention in your life, from making your family's life better for generations. And you're watching fake people live fake lives to create real feelings in you that anesthetize you from the fact that your life isn't working. It doesn't make sense. I like movies. The difference between me and you is I can afford to watch them now. And when I couldn't, I didn't. You don't understand. I was so hyper-focused on intention. I didn't listen to music. I didn't watch television. I didn't go to games. I didn't watch games. I didn't care who won if I was losing. Hyper-focus on intention instead of hyper-focusing on distraction. Don't understand the purpose.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that led me to look up the quote, the full quote. 2 things only the people anxiously desire, bread and circus, is from Satire 10.77 to 81 by the Roman poet Juvenal. Juvenal, I suppose. The quote refers to the Roman government's practice of providing free food and entertainment to keep the citizens happy and to prevent them from questioning the government. The phrase panem et circuses is the Latin translation of bread and circuses. So when you sent that to me, that's exactly where my mind went to. Give them bread and circuses and you will have a passive populace or whatever the case may be. You
I
know,
love movies. I do. And he said it, and I've thought about it sometimes. I'm like, yeah, you're sitting there watching someone have a better life of you. It's like the theater back in the day. It was just entertainment trying to get you away.
it's a distraction from your own reality to keep you from improving your reality, which is why you need to get weird. We throw that in every episode, right?
Absolutely.
Right? I know people at home can't see me right now, and I see the look on your face with all the exaggerated movement I do, but it adds
to all the feels. I get it. The vibe.
Yep. So, yeah, that's been said for decades. Every Roman Colosseum is akin to the stadiums. The people, the taxes paid for the Roman Colosseums. The taxes paid for the beer or bread or whatever the hell they used. And then, you know what? People pay for taxes for these people pay for the professional stadiums with their taxes for all of these non-profit organizations. A wink.
Only 7% of proceeds have to go to charity.
I think the only team that's not really non-profit in the NFL, National Football League in the States, and is owned by its shareholders is the Green Bay Packers. Actually, that's the only team that is owned a majority by the fans, quote unquote fans. I'm pretty sure there's somebody with a lot of money that owns a lot of different shares to make a lot of the calls for that. But the NFL is a nonprofit organization. Like, a lot of the teams are nonprofit organizations. Let's give the people bread and circuses to make them docile. What do you get at a football game? You get beer. What's beer? Wheat, barley, hops. Huzzah! Raise a glass.
My favorite gladiator beat your gladiator. Woo!
Yeah. It's not gay to watch a bunch of overgrown men in tights slap each other on the ass and just slam into each other pound for pound.
Huh.
Please.
Anyway,
please. I've always had it out for sports and all that crap, but it's the distraction for the masses.
I played sports, so I mean, get it. Yeah, that I would. It was always a very weird thing, and I questioned it as a young man myself. And I was like, "Oh, it's a sports thing." I'm like, "No, it's a weird." The shoulders up here, I could absolutely be like, "Good game."
Yeah, the pads, the helmet, the stuff that's protected. Yeah. Why not hit the dude there? Just bam, I'm macho, smack you in the head.
I was a big fan of headbutting someone actually with the helmets on. Like, I don't know why headbutting was. It seemed more,
seemed more macho, seemed more ram horn.
I guess.
I played soccer. That was my thing back in the day. So I always got shit on by all the jocks who played the mainstream sports, which is probably where my
it's more popular worldwide. Football / soccer for the Americans.
Dude, and you got to run for 90 minutes. Like 90 minutes. You're straight just hustling the whole time.
It's a big field, court.
It's bigger than the American football field. Sorry, Americans. I'm American.
Well, they
myself.
get breaks in between sets too, or whatever, right? In between downs. Question. In soccer, they just high five, right? I don't ever see any like...
Or they hug, like they just straight up hug each other.
In soccer.
You know,
there's a lot of hugging in soccer.
Like they're teammates and they just scored, and it's incredibly difficult to get one fucking goal, and they're just like, "Yeah, you did it!" And they hug each other or whatever.
A lot of male.
They high five
things. Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, every time there's a goal or some big match or something, everybody's just like
dogpile on the motherfucker who scored.
Yeah,
there might be some ass slapping. I'm not going to deny it, but
yeah, sports in general, hockey. That's probably the least questionable male as far as like brutality. I don't see them
hockey.
Like,
hockey is the right amount of sport laced between violence.
They just let each other beat each other. Like they let them beat each other up.
Yep.
To a point or something, right?
Yep,
like,
they do.
Hockey players missing teeth is a standard. It's like concussions in football, missing teeth in hockey.
Yeah.
Like it's a...
Yeah, you see somebody walk onto the ice and you're like, ooh, he's good. How can you tell? He doesn't have any teeth.
See, that's what drew me away from sports after a certain point. Like MMA, every guy's like for a minute thought they could do MMA, right? They had that moment, and then you look at him and you're like, "Fuck, I like the way my ears look, though."
Yeah,
but again, like that's a sacrifice, and I can't beat someone up as well as I could have if I did MMA. So
in jiu-jitsu circles, the cauliflower ears are prized. They're like, yeah, I got cauliflower ears because I did a lot of rumbling and tumbling and I can beat up a lot of dudes. Like, I'm not going to lie. People could talk shit all they want to and like act bad and tough. But if they don't have cauliflower ears, might not be a little afraid of them. If they do have cauliflower ears, I'm going to just respect what they have to say.
Smacked around so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real though, like,
it's true. Yeah, it's like, you need to earn those.
It's the telltale signs. Like you can judge a dude by the way that he walks up to you. It's like, oh, okay, you're a keyboard warrior. I get it.
You can tell someone's nose has been broken like 3 times, kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. You look at somebody's face and you're like, that's disfigured. It's like the old Nazis. The old Nazis used to prize their scars under their cheeks because they used to fence each other without any protection. It was like a rite of passage to have a scar.
Showed that you were, oh wow, I could see.
It's actually how the Nazi hunters identified a lot of the Nazis too after the fall of the Third Reich.
Really? Just that?
Yeah. Yeah, they were like, you were a Nazi. And the guy would be like, no, I am the Nazi. And they'd be like, where'd you get that scar? I have no idea.
Interesting.
Put that on it. So speaking of distractions and Nazis, did you hear about Trump getting assassinated?
Whoa there. That's some strong rhetoric there. That's not for or against anyone, but I'm just that's some accusations there being thrown out without due just cause. I'm just saying.
Hey man, controversy breeds attention, right?
It absolutely is.
Or we're canceled before we even start.
40% fans. I just like calling it for what it is. I don't like making or wild. I mean, like if there was evidence for that, fine. But again, like I'm not for or against.
Okay, have you heard of Project 2025? Like. Okay, let's call it what it is. All right, you don't want to go down that fascist style. Let's go down this fascist style.
Again, how many presidential assassinations have I witnessed or studied, or how many snipers? But again, it does question the people in charge of what you said. Some 20-some-year-old could almost assassinate a president.
Dude, that's the fishiest thing about the whole thing. And all right, I've said
and he's already been. God, what's his face?
John Wilkes Booth?
No, the other guy.
Lee Harvey Oswald?
There you go. He's already been Lee Harvey Oswald. Fucking, he's already been. Oh yeah, we just happened. Yeah.
Yep, he's dead. They got him good.
They just shot him right there when he only had 3 bullets in his gun. Right.
For real though, like let me take a step back and my biases aside. Where was the Secret Service in that? To tell you the honest truth, where in the hell was the Secret Service in that? Because that was well within range of a presidential candidate, and it was a successful attempt on a presidential candidate's life. One, right? Where were the sniper teams? Where were the drones? Where was the crowd observation in all of that? We know that Trump's a polarizing individual, as made forth by my former statement, if you are still sticking around after I said all that shit. But I mean, seriously, where the fuck were all these people that were supposed to protect the presidential candidate? I'm all for people speaking their minds and being anti this or pro that. And I've got an opinion because I'm supposed to be distracted with my beer on Sunday. And I enjoy the purple team more than I enjoy the green team or whatever the fuck this segregation is this week. But seriously, where the fuck was the protection for the presidential candidate?
The one Secret Service guy was holding his hand above the president's head. That was
like, that's going to stop.
I saw that and I want to be like, and no one else was doing it either. It was just the one guy. There was like 6 people around him. And one dude had his hand above it. And again, the way Trump broke out of the shell for a second to hold up his arm like they didn't get me.
Get the photo op with the bloody ear, just so perfect with his fists raised in the air. I, for one, am going to welcome Project 2025 and Mon Fuhrer Trump. To tell you the honest truth, it's like it's inevitable at this point. How else do you martyr a presidential candidate?
I think it would be a great conversation. Again, this would be, for our little podcast, if he would be willing to do it, but have President Trump on. And I think the business side of Trump, I heard him say this once, and I think he would understand where we're coming from with questioning, not challenging, but there's questions. We can question.
Absolutely.
Question and get some
We're still Americans with the right to free speech.
Right. And I can't remember the way he worded it, but someone said something like, would you get mad? No, it was... he was on some sort of talk show or one of those like not Saturday Night Live, but one of those night shows.
Okay.
Anyway,
Late night with this Yahoo or whatever. I don't.
And someone came on, they said something like Trump sucks or something like that, and then the crowd dies down. He's like, they paid me so much money to do that, and Trump is like, I'm not even mad. As a businessman, I absolutely understand with that decision.
Yeah.
He's like literally condoning someone bad mouthing him on TV, and he's like, I don't give a fuck. You made money from it? Good for you.
For real.
Yeah.
I go back to Trump's 1990 interview where he said if he was going to run for president, he'd probably run as a Republican because the Republicans are stupid and they'd vote for him.
He said that.
I'm paraphrasing, but you could fact check that. Pull out your phone and look that up. But
no,
he legitimately said if I were going to run for president, I'd run as a Republican because the Republicans are stupid. You know?
I love how we could just literally choose. And again, how people can flip-flop between what party they want to be. Like, doesn't that just show you as an observer how bullshit it is?
Yeah. That's actually why I've been an independent since I was 24. Honestly,
oh God!
I've been registered independent, I think, since I was 24. Keyboard warriors of the world who can fucking fact check that. If you prove me wrong, I'll admit it. Maybe it was 22, maybe it was 27, but I've been independent for at least over a decade. I am comfortable making that statement because I personally believe it's two wings of the same bird, as the quote
It's
goes.
The same equal.
It really is.
The same Roman Republic. People just don't want to admit it.
Yeah. And everybody's up in arms about the guy at the top of the ticket when the top of the ticket doesn't fucking matter for shit. I'm all passionate. Keep your kids away from this episode. That'll be the title of the episode. Keep your kids away from this episode. But in all reality, the only thing that matters is your local elections.
Vote at your local level and push from there. I didn't realize until these last few years how much power a governor of a state actually fucking has.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Does that depend on which state they're in?
I think really, from my observation in the political atmosphere, I think it has to do with how much that person pushes it. I think a lot more of the Southwest, Southern state, or those states, California, Texas, Arizona, they get a lot more political upheaval. I don't really hear again the governor of New York, back a few years ago. So I just didn't realize how much power that the governor had versus say a senator even. Yeah, a senator gets to vote, federally, but the governor gets to fucking close shit, bring in the National Guard, fucking do this, do that. Senators can't do that. No. As far as I know, I'm not 100%.
No, well, they can call for it and
vote
urge
for it and get a committee and have someone do an investigation, I guess. But the governor can literally be like, "Fuck you, the feds! I'm closing the border."
Yeah. Well, here's the scary thing about the president of the United States of America. They have a 6-minute window to respond to a nuclear threat. And I think that's what really matters about the presidency, to tell you the honest truth. And as far as I'm under the impression, the author, oh my God, I got to look her up. I heard about her. I heard an interview with her on Joe Rogan this past week. I know, right? Can we get through an episode without saying Rogan or Tate? Probably if we get a sponsor out there who's like, I will pay you $50 to not say Rogan or Tate this whole episode,
we'd probably lose $50.
I mean, you're not lying.
We'd probably lose $50.
We probably would lose $50. Who is this?
Give credit where credit's due. I'm saying there's a difference between sucking up and versus those are the ones who came before.
Annie Jacobson. Have you heard of her?
No.
Annie Jacobson wrote a book. She's a best-selling author. She's been a correspondent and all that stuff forever.
It's funny. You only need to sell 10,000 books or something to be a bestseller or some very low amount of them.
She's she's a Pulitzer Prize.
There we go. That's some shit. I'm not saying
Pulitzer Prize finalist, and her book is called Nuclear War: A Scenario. And she went and she talked to all of the experts, the frontline guys doing the work, and so, as she says it, I haven't read it. She sets her book up as a what if scenario, right? So she's been doing this for 10, 20 years, figuring out what nuclear war would look like.
Yeah.
And she says that the president has a 6-minute window to decide whether or not to respond to a nuclear threat. Let's say, for whatever reason, Cuba gets a nuclear missile and launches it, and we learn, because we've got that kind of satellite observation, but we can't fucking find a sniper on a roof. Just gonna throw that out there. We can understand if a nuclear bomb is going to come at the United States, the president has 6 minutes to decide whether or not he's going to push the button to retaliate. And there's also a presidential, what do they call it? Not memorandum of understanding. I forget what bad podcast host. Know your shit. But he basically has the presidential policy has a policy in place to launch back, to fire back.
I feel like he doesn't even have a choice. He's just like, you get 6 minutes, you want to launch it now or in 3 more minutes?
Exactly. Like, can we verify? And it only takes 60 seconds to launch. Can we verify? Yes, it's coming. Boop.
You know what else is fucked up? None of that considers the fact that we probably have anti-nuclear technology.
We don't. Because if we like the Iron Dome for Israel, if we destroy a nuclear weapon up in the atmosphere, that's still going to be a nuclear weapon up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, like the blast radius is really good on those things.
Well, I thought you could take them out before they explode.
But wait, there's more.
Okay, maybe that's just movies I've been watching.
Yeah, no, you could take them out as they're launching, I guess, you know.
Right, without destroying nuclear. Again,
you just blow up where it's coming from. Boop.
I think, again, with everything going on nowadays, like, I just don't think anyone who really, like, the people really in charge of that stuff who has the ability, I think everyone, it's all dummy buttons. It's like Homer Simpson. Like, he has that, like, he's got his whole display.
Got to push this button every 5 minutes or
Not just that, like, he has a fake job. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, literally, the guy next to him does his job. Like, they show everything going on, like a nuclear meltdown, and his station is just sitting there all normal, and he's looking over at everyone else, and they're like, running around. He's like, does my shit do anything? And they're like, well, we decided, years ago, Homer, that, and they just pay him to just sit there.
Well, he's a safety officer. There you go. If you've ever been on a construction site, you know how useful a safety officer is. They fill out the paperwork after you cut your finger off.
That's what I think.
Were you wearing your gloves? No. I was using a miter saw. Yes, I was wearing my gloves. The finger went through the saw blade went through the freaking glove. Anyway, that's a rant for another day.
I think that's some of that, I don't know. I don't think that there are that many people who have control over that. And again, I think with all the technology we have, there's dirty bombs and there's clean bombs. And
oh, but wait, there's more.
With being able to, with all the virus crap we have, like, why would I want to blow your shit up?
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
I'd rather take over your complete society and cripple you economically and socially and get all of your people to actually worship me on the internet instead of you. Oh, wait, who are we talking about again?
Russia and China. Oh, wait.
Was I?
No,
I wasn't.
Wait, there's more. Let me finish that thought on the nuclear thing.
Yeah.
Because it gets better.
Okay.
Right? Every president since we've had the nuclear bombs, like
over football, okay.
Apologies for being uninformed, but every president has said that they're going to get rid of that presidential policy, and they have a backdoor conversation and never get rid of the policy. The only president who hasn't said in recent history, who hasn't said that they were going to get rid of that, is Trump.
And he's just like, no, I'm going to go there.
Yeah, Trump just like, why? Well, if those other 8 guys can't do it, why should I try? Probably. I don't know what goes on in his actual head.
Not in charge of anything. He's like, you want me to sign where? Here's a pen.
Yeah, like
there's a pen for you.
The dude, when he was in office, sat in front of Fox News for something like 20 hours out of the day. I'm being exaggerated, but he just sat there and watched fucking news all fucking day. Like, he knows
his job.
He knows. Somebody'd come to him and he'd be like, all right, let's make a decision. Yes. No. With his little accordion hands that he's got going on.
In the movie or the TV show The House of Cards, there's a billionaire in there, whatever the fuck his name is, I can't remember.
Okay.
But he literally talks about how he's like, I have 12 assistants.
It doesn't matter. It's just a distraction.
Well, he talks about exactly what you just said. He's like, I answer decisions or questions in the form of yes or no.
Yeah.
Again, he's like, it needs to be cut down exactly that dry, and that's exactly it. He's like, it's a yes or no answer. And I think that's exactly how the president would run shit if you're that really in charge.
A really good key to leadership is being able to delegate. and to make the decisions, right? Listening to Vivek Ramaswamy on the Sean Ryan podcast to like really drop some names and branch out from the Roganiting mastertating thing. Vivek Ramaswamy said that he has witnessed Trump like at a rally or at a Q&A event, like get asked a question and say, I don't know. And then go and actually do a little bit of research for whatever his word is worth. I don't know this Vivek Ramaswamy guy. I don't know him personally, but he said that Trump will actually take into consideration what is at odds in that issue with that question and then come back and have an opinion. Whereas like everybody pretty much just shoots from the cuff, you know?
Oh, I got this. He's just like, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. Whereas everybody was like, yes. No, yes, I'm a decider.
So again, you, from what little leadership position I have in comparison, you know, taking people's opinions aside, that shows good character.
Yeah,
I does like hate him if you want, but you know,
I really don't like a lot of his policies. I don't agree with him in a lot of facets, but I can respect the fact that he takes the time to be informed to make the decisions that he's going to make. I might not have the similar conclusion as to what I would do personally, but I can respect that aspect of his decision-making process.
Yeah, I don't think...
I got to be really delicate right now because that's so polarizing, and I already came out and I was like, fuck Trump. Or at least
again, too,
the people who want to hear that will hear that. I
think people misunderstand the difference between you don't have to agree with someone all the time. They don't have to like somebody to agree with their, and you know, all the different facets of that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
You know, people get so caught up on the fact, like, yeah, he had said some very controversial shit. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, but I don't really enjoy the womanizing, misogynistic aspect of Trump, but I can respect his decision-making process. You know, like I don't like Biden, to tell you the honest truth, to come out and just say that out there. I really think that Biden should take a step back in the upcoming election, but at the same time, like I really enjoy those liberal views from that wing of the bird, you know?
I'm going to throw an old one out there.
Go ahead.
He, I think, is my favorite president probably of all time.
Who?
Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. Ultimately, like my favorite president of all time.
Who was successfully assassinated.
As a president. As a man, I completely disagree with him. The fact that he cheated on his fucking wife with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, and being a womanizer and all that stuff, and a booze hound and all that stuff.
So as a person, I don't know. As a leader, yes. So I think that's a great example. People forget shit like that.
And we lose a lot of that in this polarizing political era that we live in. You know, people are literally swayed on 30 seconds of information and they're not actually stopping and going deep. They want to listen to a 30-second short rather than a 2-hour-long podcast. You know, let the guys talk. Let them talk. Like
podcast.
Yeah, listen to our podcast for all of your information disinformation. No,
we do a really good job of setting the stage so people to investigate on their own.
Yeah. What's your library look like? Oh, I mean, what does your bookshelf look like? Oh, I mean,
my TV is bigger than my library. My library is bigger than my TV.
Yeah. How big is your TV? And what does your phone history look like? To say the honest truth.
If you were to die right now, would you need to delete your history?
Nope.
I don't either. Perfectly fine.
I literally hand my phone to my wife and say, here.
I've done that 3 times.
Oh, yeah?
Being able to be like, here you go. Fucking open it up.
I do it. I do it every weekend. I do it every weekend because we still play Pokemon Go. That's how mature I am. But, you know, we do it together and we have this activity and we do it really fun, you know? But that's when I hand her the phone because I'm usually driving and she's like, do you want to trade? Do you want to whatever? And I'm like, yeah, here. I have no qualms about that. You might see like some tinfoil hat stuff. Oh, well.
Yeah.
I think we all have tinfoil hats.
Sexual proclivities. You're that concerned about people knowing that you like whatever the fuck, probably shouldn't be watching it.
Yeah. If you're a person who's standing high on morals and your search history needs to be deleted because of your immoral proclivities, shall we say, You might want to think about how much of a hypocrite you are.
I don't know if it's just lately observing one or two people, but I swear the more someone mentions God and being blessed and being holy, I'm just like, you are really fucking shady.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a huge shield. Blessed. God choose God.
I will take an exemption to that for Jordan Peterson.
Some people, I guess.
Yeah, some people. I will take an exemption to that for Jordan Peterson. I actually listened to that dude talk for a couple hours, and he is a biblical scholar. He has studied the Bible. He has, his own
way
religious
that it's
views.
Mentioned with Jordan Peterson gives me the feel of sincerity. But someone, again, just like throwing out God, being blessed, it just seems very...
Well, I'm like trying to emphasize the fact that you can see... You can see where it's fake, and you can see where it's like it has actually involved in someone's choices in life and all that stuff. Jordan Peterson probably, he probably has cobwebs in the closet and skeletons in the closet, but he's probably not worried about his phone history.
I guess it's kind of
until he is.
It's like the Game of Thrones phrase. I can use it a lot when he talks about, he's like, when Joffrey's like, I am the king. And then Tywin says to him, he's like, any man who must say, I am the king is not a true king. It has a lot to do with that. Like, if you're holy, like, you don't need to be walking around being like, God, 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 God. Like, people fucking feel it. Like, it's known. Like, again, it's like the church. Like, why are you taking donations when you should be giving people fucking money? Like,
what are you doing with that donation? Are you actually feeding the poor? Well, that just goes for charities involved too. Like, you got to vet your charities.
I don't much rather give it over to someone personally than give it to someone else,
Yes, but you got all those fentanyl zombies, and you're going to give them $20 and they're going to just go straight and blow it up their nose.
Well, that's, again, pick and choose who you give your charity to.
Well, okay, take this as an example. Remember way back when we were making $500 a day and it was actually really easy to do?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, we gotta vet and give, and, we got to give back. We got to pay this forward, because we're doing so well. Right.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've actually spoke about it publicly ever. Right. I was vetting charities all the way down to the local level, and I was only giving to local charities that I believed in. And I didn't do it for fucking tax purposes either.
Nice. You can only claim like fucking a couple $100 or whatever for charity anyway.
But if you have a fucking nonprofit charity organization like the NFL, you can rake in the dough, man.
So it's just all about structuring yourself properly. If you were to have yourself as a nonprofit, donating to people, taking donations from your family to donate to people.
Hi, my name's Charity. Yes, you are, honey.
It's all about the way you structure it. And again, that whole part where people are structuring their family as a business and paying their children allowances as an employee.
Yep. Up to $12,000 a year as of 2024, as I understand it. Consult your local tax professional. My wife actually sent that to me too. She's like, can we do this? I'm like, yeah, we have to have a business and we have to structure it correctly. Like, this is what we have to do. Yep. None of our families suffer, man.
Your house is a holiday hotel stay, charging all of your family members a premium, having your company pay that premium, and then writing it off as taxes every year.
It's in the tax code. Really, like, you really want to harvest one of the sharpest weapons in the world? It's economics. It's the tax code. It's the way that you move
interest.
Huh?
Compounding interest.
Yeah, that's for personal gain. That's small potatoes. That's literally small potatoes. An Uber driver out there could write off their whole family vehicle if they do it right. Sit more than 6,000 pounds, used primarily for business purposes. What's your business? I'm a rideshare driver. No qualms. No, the IRS isn't going to blink twice at that. You get the maintenance, the mileage, and the fuel for your business use as a tax write-off.
So it's kind of like your wife paying you as an Uber driver to take her to the grocery store, tipping you writing all that off as a maintenance, as you driving yourself around as a Uber driver. In all reality, you just took your family to the grocery store.
In a non-specific real-world example, you could literally drive your child to school if you give them an Uber account, a youth Uber account. You could pick up your own child, drive them to school, and then continue about your business, and that would be a tax write-off. You'd lose out on, the ride-sharing app fee or whatever. but that's pretty much it. You know, you're still paying for the maintenance, the mileage, the vehicle itself. You know, it's all about education too.
Well, fuck, if I wasn't even married and I was just charging some random lady and her kids that I just happened to father. Yep.
You could.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really, really could, you know?
Wow. Anyway, we haven't even talked about premium life insurance, folks. That's a whole other subject of financial jargon and fuckery.
I'm serious, dude. Finance is the backbone. Personal finance is the backbone to the rest of your life, and everything starts there. And nobody wants to talk about it because it's fucking taboo. It's fucking taboo. The Tate brothers and their cousin Luke. Luke, that's the guy's name. We talked about him a couple episodes ago.
Yep.
They teamed up, trifecta. They teamed up. They pooled their resources. They used tax write-offs, and they're doing really well. Provided they live in Romania, but you know, they talk about their money.
I'd rather live. I'd have a couple different countries if I could choose into it. I mean, if I had the choice, I would fly around with the weather.
Yeah, that endless summer.
Yeah, or not. I would chase autumn, spring kind of shit. You know, I don't like summer's too hot, but I've never really seen the leaves falling in like actual sweater weather. It's either hot or really cold here.
Yeah,
that's it. So that'd be kind of cool. Or going to having a business in another country and be able to travel there into that business organization, be able to be able to utilize the,
it all starts with proper planning. And you don't need business capital. You need an idea, to tell you the honest truth, LLC. To sell that idea.
Yep. Shares in that company and everything.
Well, not even that. That's just the superficial level of the game.
Yeah.
To tell you the honest truth, like
Panama Papers.
To go back to mastertating, he's sitting in an Airbnb. This is a famous clip that I've seen a couple of times. He's sitting in an Airbnb paying $30,000 a night, and the owner comes over to him and says, "Excuse me, you have to move out today because I got somebody who's willing to offer $40,000 a night."
He was somewhere in the middle, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Tate goes, "All right, I'll give you $50,000 a night." And the guy comes back and says, "Okay, this guy's offered $50,000 for the next year for the night for this place." And Tate's like, "Fuck this. I'm out, dude. Who am I even competing against?"
Yeah.
You know?
He's talking about how much money is everywhere, and he's like, it's a ridiculous amount of money, yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm still going to say it, he's a psyop, but I'm pretty sure that he's an intentional public figurehead, so that way the youth, the male masculine youth, have somebody to look up to. Until my opinion changes, you know. He was arrested and martyred and all this other good stuff. Fucking awesome. Yay. And then he was let go.
At some point, somebody is going to figure out a use for you no matter what you do. They're going to be able to package, resell, and rebrand whatever you have to say to help the machine. And that's the whole point of like being the conspiracy theorist, talking about how corrupt the machine is. At some point, you're going to be adopted into the fucking mechanism. Why? Because they need that part for people to be distracted with too. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's why conspiracy theorists are made out to be loons. That's why I was telling you about the one-star Navy admiral on the Andrew Ryan show was like, yeah, they need people to be loons. They need this to be loony, and they market it as a loony idea because there is some truth to it. You just can't tell what's fact from fiction because of all the disinformation.
Once you go down that road and the way it's so easily manipulated, you could literally have the exact truth of what just happened from one source, and within 10 seconds, it's been disseminated, twisted, warped around, and changed. Well, no one will believe it.
Yep. This guy said that there was an incident. He didn't go into the details of the incident, but he was like, there was an incident and there was several emails sent, several chains of emails sent. An hour later, the whole email chain and everything revolving around that information of that incident was wiped from their computers. Gone. And nobody talked about it ever again because they understood that, I'll call them puppet masters. The puppet masters came in and cleaned up. They just cleaned that up. That didn't happen. All right, cool. Who am I to piss off the fucking real people that are really coming into your house at midnight, you know, black bagging you and taking off, you know? He even said that there was an incident of a Navy commander who was like set up to be crazy. He would like they were fucking with him. The intelligence officers, whatever entity, were fucking with this dude and feeding him false information and doing all that stuff. And then he was like, batshit crazy all of a sudden, because they set him up to be like MK Ultra style, set him up to be fucking nuts.
If you're holding all the information, feeding someone small bits of it, and then twisting and manipulating it, and then feeding them truly corrupt information, there's no way for that person to determine what is real anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's a game of werewolf. It's something like that. They call it, maybe in Poland or something like that. They prove that a small informed group will always have more control over the uninformed mass. Always.
Yep. Yeah, because in that game, they dictate who's a human or who's a farmer and who's a werewolf or something like that. And the werewolves are hunting the farmers, and it's the farmers' jobs to figure out who the werewolves are, and the farmers end up turning on each other.
Some shit like that, yeah. And they're like, it always like 9 out of 10 times, like they can't figure out, and they always have, it's just easier for the few informed to small informed group to control an uninformed mass.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
Yep. And that's dude, I'm not trying to go out and change the fucking world. I don't want to have the next revolution of evolution or something
it's
like
coming,
that.
Bro, that's the crazy part is
yeah,
I think it's not going to be here, but it's
on the way. The tide is rising, but I don't want to feed flames to that. I just want to make enough bread and take my family to enough circuses at this point in my life, to tell you the honest truth. You know, I want that bread to be an airplane, and I want those circuses to be fucking, I don't know, life in Tahiti or whatever the case may be, but that's the dreamer in me. Just to let you know, really scary people in black with the armed weapons, I am a loon. I'm crazy.
He knows just enough to be dangerous, but not enough to be a threat. No.
And I am so apathetic that it's not even funny. So your plan is working.
I have no problem. I mean, if we get to the point where, you know, you can just, you know, keep speaking what you're saying, but just know if someone comes in and gives you a wink, I mean, that to me is a sign of success. I'm just saying, like, you know, you get high enough up that, you know, you've been
How do you know you've made it? 20 million YouTube subscribers? No. 60 billion TikTok followers? No. The guy coming in and giving you a wink and telling you to shut the fuck up? Yes. That's when you know you've made it.
That'll be like, we'll have a secret dinner that night. And be like, what are we celebrating? We're like, we can't talk about it.
What are we celebrating? Steak, bread, and circuses. Huzzah!
Yep. Yeah, I just they got really cheerful after that. It wasn't super dark anymore.
Why did the web of the toast of the weird? Why did the toast of the weird take this awful turn where they're just, you know, laughing at Paris Hilton and Mike Tyson? Are those even popular people these days? Whatever. I know that. So
Mike Tyson has become a very, I want to say prominent, but I mean, at least well listened to motivational speaker.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of his stuff, and he's a very insightful man.
Okay, well, he's in the news cycle right now because the fight with Jake Paul, and then he can't fight with Jake Paul, and
so that
Jake Paul is going to be Jane Paul, so he can fight Ronda Rousey or whatever bullshit.
Is that what?
I'm just making shit up, dude.
Okay, shit.
I thought I heard that, but I mean, it could be bullshit.
Wow. Okay. Jane Paul, huh?
Jane Paul, so that way he could fight Ronda Rousey and sell more Prime. That's all he is. He's just a marketing machine.
Did he get beat up by Tyson?
No, he couldn't fight Mike Tyson. They put off the fight, and they put in some other dude to fight him for this next event.
To fight Mike Tyson? Or
No, to fight Jake Paul.
So he's a real fighter, or sort of.
Jake Paul is a real-ish fighter. He's a real boxer. He's actually had some professional fights before all this. He got famous. He just got famous for calling people like Mike Tyson out, you know, and fighting them. Like,
so who else has he fought? Or because he didn't actually fight Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson's older, and he's just like, "I'll beat the fuck out of you, little man." Like,
yeah.
I haven't seen Mike Tyson fight in years. I have never seen any training of Jake Paul's other than the meme between this is what Mike Tyson looked like at 17. This is what Jake Paul looked like at 17. Like he was training and fighting, and Jake Paul was doing TikTok videos or whatever.
Yeah.
if Mike Tyson didn't give that guy a fucking concussion on the way to the fucking hospital, I would be surprised. Like,
no, Mike Tyson had some serious medical issue go on, and he had to bow out of the fight. Like, they legitimately said that he cannot fight, and Mike Tyson was like, "Well, I'm 60 or whatever, however old he is." He's like, "I'm 60. I don't want to get caught up in this."
You know what though? Like, despite all that, I still think Mike Tyson beat the fuck out of it.
I think everybody was paying to see Mike Tyson knock out Jake Paul, and Jake Paul literally signed up for that so that way he could sell more Prime.
He's like, sure, I'll get knocked out by this guy.
Yeah, dude. You know how like the kids love that stuff. They're like, yeah, we love this. He's just a marketing machine. All of these stunts, all of these political stunts are just for him to get enough attention so that way when he's in the ring and he just got knocked out by Mike Tyson because of all this hype, he could take a swig of his Prime drink and everybody goes, hey, Prime. It's clever product
the
placement.
guy who got his ass beat drinking Prime, he's all, dump some Prime on my face.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of, you just won the World Series. What are you going to do next? I'm going to Disneyland. You know? It's not even.
Are you conscious? Someone dumped some Prime in his mouth for the photo shoot.
Yeah, it's not even what is it? Behind the veil anymore. It's just we're waiting for the quarterback who wins the Super Bowl to say, I'm going to Disneyland, and everybody goes, yay! We love this circus. You know?
They made a reality TV segment out of behind the scenes of the circus.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all like out. It's someone was talking about it. This guy was talking about some homeless man. I don't know, coming in front of me. He's like, we say that's like breaking the fourth wall, and I was like, oh, it's kind of like that. Like everybody, like nobody gives a shit that they're talking to the audience anymore. The audience is like, I'm part of the show.
Yeah,
just eating their munching their fucking snacks.
Yeah. Oh gosh, dude. I love these. I was watching the reels. I'm watching more of the conservative stuff to understand that mentality. So I'm adopting more of that mentality because I'm absorbing it. But there was this guy. He's like, everybody in the 2A community really pisses me off. And that's because they're fat. You know, he was like this obvious, like, this obvious military operator who's had some experience, and he's like, everybody who comes to me and wants me to train them, they are fat and they're not taking care of themselves. And I'm just like, you know why? Because they'd rather watch football on Sundays, and like they've got their what is it, AK-47 or M16, and they're like, you could take that out of my dead hands, it won't have to be long, we'll just wait for you to have a heart attack, dude. Like, I'm all for people being able to defend themselves and protect themselves in whatever capacity they want to. But I mean, if you're literally just eating Cheetos and drinking beer on every day after you get out of work and you're fat and overweight, and they're like, I'm going to shoot you if you break into my house. I don't want to break into your house. First of all, that's me personally. And second of all, I don't have to wait to take your guns. You're going to have a fucking heart attack. It's
your health is your wealth.
Pathetic truth.
Your health is your wealth.
Yeah. You really want to wield a weapon? Tell me that you're an international finance lawyer and you could call up a politician and tell him to change his fucking mind. That will scare the fuck out of me. And yes, that did happen to me as an Uber driver. Like, if I could get one person on the podcast to actually interview, it would be that man.
You should have got his contact info.
Dude, I should have invited him out to coffee. I would have said, I can't afford you, but can I buy you a cup of coffee? And I should have had that conversation.
Can I get your info so I can... I guess, honestly, people lose the idea of, I don't want to say admiration or modeling or whatever, again, too. Like, it's not... And again, that person has their life together. They're in a position that you would love to be in. Why not seek out that path, or why not get that advice, or why not?
That's the Luke Belmar path. That's the Luke Belmar method. Yeah. He's famous for going, I was the waiter for Jeff Bezos or whatever the hell. I was what do they call it? What do the wine snobs call it?
Is that what he did?
Yeah, that's what he said he did. He was a waiter at really high-end restaurants and sommelier.
Okay.
He was a sommelier, and he learned about wine so he could have these conversations. He's like, I know not to be spoken or speak only when spoken to, but you know, I was there, I was listening, and I was able to answer the questions that I was asked and all this other shit. And that's what he did. And that's why I was like, fuck. Dude, I had one opportunity, and that man scared the fuck out of me. Like, I picked up gangsters, I picked up fucking criminals, I picked up meth heads, I picked up a lot of people, and they don't fucking scare me. But that dude and the mafia boss scared the fuck out of me, to tell you the honest truth. It's that quiet power, you know what I mean? This guy asked me a simple question. He's like, did I get all of my groceries? And I was like, yes, sir, you did. Yes, Would you like to check the trunk? Would you like to check the car?
Did I get all of my groceries?
And I was like, yes, sir, you fucking did. And I should have fucking invited him to the podcast too, but that's probably not somebody who's going to say words. You know what I mean?
Actually, he seems like the kind of person who will respond to a question. So
yeah.
What we really need to do is make sure we have a set of questions that are to the level of his expertise, or at least enough to engage him in that level that he would feel.
If he's even willing to answer the fucking questions.
Or if not, someone like that, maybe we can't get his full time. Again, too, just the person, being able to follow them, so to say, or, being able to kind of, it's like we're all tracking through the forest, right? Where'd that guy go? Where did he just come from?
Yeah. Why does he have the biggest elk?
Thank you. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Is he willing to tell me the valley that he came from?
Yeah, there's another example of this upstart YouTuber somewhere in the ritzy side of wherever you want to pick.
Yeah.
And this kid goes up to this guy and he's like, hey, and the guy's like, fuck you, dude. I don't have the time for you. I don't have the time for you. And the kid goes, but I just interviewed the owner of the McDonald's chain for all of this ritzy area. And the guy goes, you got 5 seconds. And the kid just asks, like, what, how long have you had a business? And the guy's like, that's a stout observation of you, or a stout assumption, but 25 years. What was your business? Construction, like rapid fire like that. But the guy didn't even want to talk to this kid until he dropped the name of the other guy. And they turned from the camera and had a private conversation and turned back. It's really eye-opening. It's like, who the fuck are you? I'm not anybody, but I'm trying, I'm out here on the street, 30 seconds. I just want to learn.
Again, too, the way that he was able to not say come back, but to take that what he was given, instead of being discouraged or like, oh, whatever, he had the wit, the capability to like.
That's all just sales, dude. That's the sales to overcome the objection. The objection was, I don't have time. I don't want to talk to you. The overcome was, but I interviewed your buddy, blah, 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 Okay. And the guy was like, oh, you did? I saw that.
Anyway, again, it's not who you are, it's who you know.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were able to get that person to pay attention to you. Okay.
Yeah. All right, man. I think we're over time for now. We got, empires to build and planning missions to make, and, docile circuses and bread to consume and watch.
It reminds me of actually something somebody said. You are judged as a man, treated by females the way other men judge you. If other men do not respect you, women will not respect you.
Fair.
So it starts off that way. And I was like, that's interesting. It's like you have to gain the admiration of the men around you, not the women around you. And I was like, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Because again, the woman will go after the high status man, or,
Mm-hmm. Well, Jay Waller also came out on the shorts, whenever, and said that if you're not pushing me and you're not making money, I don't want to waste my time with you. Legitimately, that's what he said. And he said that the purpose of that was, if you're not making each other better, why the fuck have a friendship at all?
That's a good point. Yeah, the Tate says the same thing. He's like, oh, my friend so-and-so is so funny when we go out and get drunk.
Jay Waller and the Tates and all them are in the same. Luke Belmar, they're all in the same social circle.
Well, he brings up a great point about having a friend. It's that same 3 a.m. conversation versus 3 a.m. conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
3 a.m. versus 3 p.m.
He's like, why are you hanging around with somebody who'd fucking stand there while you got your ass fucking beat just because he's funny when he's drunk? Fuck
My favorite one of the Tate stories
the
Tate statements is this guy was hanging out with the Tates and he was at a club dancing with this girl and he didn't know that the girl had a boyfriend or whatever, and he gets sucker punched and he turns around to like swing back at the guy, and before he even could, the guy was already laid out, and he sees Tristan Tate just standing there dancing and the dude laid out on the floor. He was like, and that's when I knew.
Yeah, I remember them talking about. He's like, that's things like we're gonna take everyone out in their group, and he's like, and then I'll ask you what happened. He's like, then I'll be like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. All right, that's it for the Toast of the Weird. If you've enjoyed, actually, you know what? Let's do this a different way. Thank you for spending an hour with us. We deeply appreciate that.
Truly.
Till next time, keep it weird.